Hello, everybody, and you are all very welcome to today's live webinar, Advanced Document Generation Made Easy for Sales Compensation Management, and brought to you by Leaptree Incentivize and DocuMotion. So delighted to have you here. Today, speaking and presenting will be Neil Young, CEO of Leaptree, and David White, Head of Customer Success in DocuMotion. So the agenda, folks, will be brief introduction from myself, keep it very brief. Secondly, then we will have a demonstration of DocuMotion working with different compensation strategies, and that will be with Neil, approximately 10 minutes. Then we will have a demonstration from David, a demonstration on DocuMotion behind the scenes. And then we'll have an open Q&A session, and then we will have a wrap-up. So as we go, folks, if you have any questions at all, no matter what they are, please put them into the Q&A box and we'll collate them, put them together, and be very happy to answer them where we can at the end of the session. So I'll hand you over now to Neil.
Great, thanks, Brendan. So yeah, just to start with Leaptree Incentivize, and it's sitting inside, our app sits inside Salesforce, 100% native to Salesforce. And this is the landing page of a chief revenue officer, for example. And what we have on our left-hand side is all the different teams that report into the chief revenue officer, such as business development team, the customer success team, enterprise sales, inside sales, partner sales, solutions team, so on. And on the right-hand side, you'll see the team drill down, so the different individuals and their different targets from a people perspective. In the bottom left-hand corner, you see my team compensation plan history. And we're going to funnel down into that in a little while. And then on the bottom right-hand side, you see deals closed by the team. So at any stage within the app, you can look at a real-time deal in Salesforce. So it's fully integrated. It's native to Salesforce and works really well for your sales teams and beyond. So what I want to show is 3 different scenarios whereby you have different roles in your organization and how they would leverage DocuMotion for managing sales compensation templates. So if I start with Deborah Fay, and Deborah is inside sales representative. And if we go, and then you see it filters down, shows Deborah's target here, and then shows compensation plan for Deborah. So if I click into the compensation plan, you'll see that this is an account executive individual compensation plan. So this is for the year ahead, what the plan layout will be, what our targets are, what our cadence is, what percentage commission that Deborah will receive for deals, and what you'll also see down here at the bottom is attainment tiers, for example. So it's very specific to Deborah's role in the organization, and it might include more details such as territories and so on and so forth, some kickers, etc. This is just to illustrate how that will work for Deborah on the front end. And then if I look at the statements for Deborah and give you an example, this is also coming from DocuMotion. So, Deborah runs on a quarterly basis. At the end of Q1, 2 deals came in for Deborah. What was the payout? What was the deal name? And Deborah will receive these compensation statements from Leaptree Incentivize, and the output is coming from DocuMotion. And that's how the technologies weave together to provide you the solution. What's really important with the leveraging the solution really is bringing in other roles that have different compensation plans is one thing that you design in their product, an incentivized product, but what does the layout look like? In a lot of cases, it can be variably different. So if I look at Paul Gray, Paul is a business development representative within the organization. Paul is a business development plan, and you'll see down here Paul has a similar cadence, but Paul receives a different type of percentage, and he receives that on opportunities that are created between certain dates within the year. So a much higher target with a much higher with a different credit rule. So credit rules for opportunities created within that term. So different template completely. Now if I switch to Tom Prince, the Chief Revenue Officer, and I go in and look at Tom's plan, what you see here again is it's a 2-page plan. Some of our customers have 30 pages, 50 pages for the plans, so whatever works for your organization. But now we have a different type of plan laid out and design. And David's going to show you later on in the webinar of how you can modify these templates with no code. But just to demonstrate how you can work with. So with Tom, it's got roll-up targets, inside sales and enterprise sales, or everything that comes as an output from these 2 teams. will go towards Tom Prince's overall percentage here. And then Tom also has attainment tiers that apply based on the teams that he manages and how they perform. So that's it rolled up. So how do we join the dots between Leadtree Incentivize and DocuMotion? First off, if you are licensed to use the product, and we can talk about that at a later point today, you'll see this enabled. So you'll see allow the use of DocuMotion for PDF generation. So you have that turned on. That's really important. And now, once I have that turned on, when I'm building out my compensation plans in Leadtree Incentivize, so I'm going to click into the CRO compensation plan. This is an active compensation plan. So what I see here is the revenue achieved plan to date, what we project the revenue to be based on the current trend at the moment. Okay, against a target of 2 million, and you can add in deals and simulate what if scenarios with their product. But what I'm going to do here now is go look at the target. So I go into the target on the compensation plan. You see that I get everything here is rolled up for the CRO. Excuse me, for the CRO. For the inside sales FY23 target, and everything gets rolled up for enterprise sales for the FY23 target. And you can see the configuration at a high level on the screen here with the attainment tiers, with the cadence, how to get paid, the percentage rate they get paid, and what their target impact is. If I go back to the plan itself and I look to modify the setup of the plan, this is read only at the moment, so because it's an active plan, but what I can do is show you how we make the join. So what you see down here in the bottom left-hand corner, you're going to see where the two templates are designed. So you've got, this is where you say, this is the template I'm going to use for the quarterly statements. And this is the template I'm going to use for the compensation plan that goes out at the start of the financial year that we've seen earlier on in the demonstration. So that's really it in a snapshot of how, on the front end, what do people see in terms of Chief Revenue Officer, the business development role, the inside sales manager role, and you're seeing those different templates being presented out. It's all electronic, it's all managed digitally, and it's all managed within their system, and it's all 100% within Salesforce. So at this stage, I'm gonna hand you over to David, and David's going to show you how the inner workings of DocuMotion enable you to join the dots.
Thank you, Neil. It's really exciting to see the added value that that DocuMotion provides to the Leadtree offering. What I'm going to do now, as Neil mentioned, is I'm going to sort of dive a little bit under the hood and sort of show how easy it is to design templates with DocuMotion. Typically, there are sort of three phases or three stages. One is actually creating the document or the template in Leadtree. The other is creating the data model from which you're going to be selecting fields to tag in the document, and then the actual designer itself, where you can see how easy it is to add fields and to add tables or business logic. So if we're taking a look now at DocuMotion, let's take a look. I've got a list of forms here or templates that have been created earlier. So I'll click on one of those templates. And upon clicking it, just as you would see with a new template, you can see a whole bunch of settings that are at the form level. These settings are there for you to be able to sort of, really sort of streamline the form and set it up in a way that it's easy to use and easily filtered. That just improves the user experience for the end users. So we now have that form created, and it's now just a basic sort of skeleton of what we need. So now we need to create, which is the second stage, is to create the actual data model. So here I would click on data model, and here you can see the data model that's been created already for this template. On the left-hand side, you can see the available fields that you want to add into the data model, and on the right-hand side, you can see those that have already been selected. So let's take a look at adding a field. You can add fields, you can add lookups and fields from lookups and also related lists, and we provide the ability to go up to 5 levels deep on the hierarchy of the data. So you can be pretty sure that you'll be able to select the data that you need within the relationships that you have in the data in Leadtree. So here I will click on a field. Let's select a field like the compensation plan integration name. And I say, well, I want to now push that into the data model. So I'll just click on the arrow. And there we have, as easy as that, we have a new field added to the data model. Let's then go and look at lookups. Looking at a lookup, I can select the lookup. Let's, in this case, select a user, the related or the lookup of the user. And here I can also then select a field, and you'll see here under user that upon selecting the field that select, for example, active, I can push that also into the data model, and there you can see it already under the user lookup. Here at the top, we can actually see the breadcrumbs that show how you've actually sort of dived down into the hierarchy of the data. So I can go back to here to the breadcrumbs, and I can click return to the top of the hierarchy. And at this case, again, on the compensation plan integration, I want to add information from a related list. So let's select a related list. Here I can see compensation plan integration items. We'll select that. And again, I can see fields that are part of that related list. I'll select created date and add the created date to the data model. You can see that it has appeared here. Once you've finished all of your data model creation, and again, you can always come back to a data model and add and remove from it throughout the life cycle of the template, but I will now save that data model. So we've gone through the 2 phases of the 3. The first one being setting up the actual template in Salesforce, the second being creating the data model. Now we're actually ready to create the document or the template physically itself. In this case, I will open the designer. The designer is the DocuMotion application that is based on Word. So you have all of the value of being able to design a document, a pixel perfect document using Word. And you can see that area here on which is the main whole, sort of holds basically most of the area of the application. And then on the left-hand side, you can see 2 panels. The panel on the bottom left is the panel that shows the data model that we created earlier, and also tools that can be used to apply logic into the template. On the top left, you can actually see then the fields and tables that have already been added. So let's go ahead and add a simple field. I can input a label for that field, in this case, the effective from date. And I can then select from the left-hand side from the data model, I can double click effective from date, and there you have it. You have already a field tagged in the document. As you can see, there's no need for programming or complex HTML tags or stuff like that. It really is simple. What you see really is what you get. So there we are. We've added a field. Let's now add a table. So I can add a table by just clicking inserting a table as I would from Word. And in this case, I only need to select a table that is 2 rows deep, because basically I need enough rows just to add the actual column headers and then to add the values into every column. So I will now add the column headers. And there you can see I've just inputted the text into those columns as I see fit. Now I want to add the actual fields themselves. So again, I go to the data model, and in this case, I just click the fields and add them to the table, just like I would any other field. You can see also in the data model that there is a T there that represents the related list and indicates that it is a dynamic table. It is data for a dynamic table that you can create. So we've added a field, we've added a table. Let's take a look at adding logic. Now, if I want to add, for example, logic into the document where I want to hide or show a certain area in the document, this could be stuff that's like terms and conditions and anything that based on your Leaptree data, you want to be able to hide or show that information. So first I will select the area that I want to contain in the container. And then you can see here on the left-hand side that I can click the container. Clicking the container will now give me the ability to add the new container. Let's take a look at then what sort of logic I can easily apply. So in this case, I'd like to, by default, hide this container to start with. Okay, so it won't be shown. And then I want to add the condition that determines whether I'm going to show it or not. So in this case, I'll use an if statement. With the if statement, you can see I can create here at the top a condition using, for example, a data tag from within the Leaptree data. In this case, it's the base salary. And I can create a condition saying if the base salary is larger than this, say, in this case, 100,000, then I would want to show this piece of text in the document. So I will save that. and I would click Show Container. And now you can see within the if statement that if that if statement is met, then the container will be shown. Click Save, click OK, and there I have it, a container already within the document with business logic applied. It really is just that easy, and you have a whole variety of functions and conditions that you can use on the document. So that was stage 3 then of creating the document. We went through creating the template in Leaptree, adding a data model, and then actually building out the document. And that sort of concludes basically sort of looking under the hood at the designer. What I would like to sort of talk about now is what we're sort of looking at in the future with Leaptree and DocuMotion, and that is the use of interactive documents. So rather than just sending a static document as shown before with the different compensation plans and as such, you can also send out documents that the end user can interact with, can apply information, and then actually sign it at the end and send it back and submit it back basically to the person that sent it out. So how is that done? So let's take a look at actually selecting a document. And again, we're seeing here the basic interface of DocuMotion, but as you can see with Leaptree, everything was hidden behind the scenes, much more streamlined, and gave the user a really easy and enjoyable sort of experience. Here I will select a template, and then you can see here that DocuMotion has multiple formats and channels. So you can see here like PDF, HTML, Word, and mail body, and you can see multiple channels, mail with attachment, files, download, document, and others. In this case, if we wanted it to be an interactive document, then I would select HTML and link. The whole idea being that the end user will have an HTML or web page experience, and he will receive it in an email as a link that he will then click on. In this case, I would then click Generate. Having clicked Generate, the link has been sent to the end user, and the end user can click on that link. Having clicked on the link, this would be then the experience that the end user would have. He would be able to access the document, change information like in this example, his mobile number. He could add remarks, click on the terms and conditions. He could even upload an ID or any other sort of document that wanted to be included in this template. He could sign it with a signature date and then submit it back. So that would be basically there in a nutshell, also the interactive capabilities. So we talked about the designer under the hood, and we also looked at how we could actually boost the experience in Leaptree with interactive documents. So I'd like to hand it back to Neil. Take it away.
Thanks, David. So yeah, we received some questions here from our attendees. So I might give you a little break, David, and take the first one myself. So how do existing Leaptree customers access the advanced document generation features? So we have a newer version of our product now out. So we have our enterprise version of the product, and that includes the bundle of DocuMotion with that product. Like you'll see Brendan's details at the end, so please you can contact Brendan further to this call, this webinar, to find out more information there. But yes, it's bundled in with one of our products now, which is good news. I have one for you now, David. So can a data model be used across multiple templates?
That's a great question, Neil. And yes, data models can be, a single data model can be used across multiple templates, so it can be shared. It makes their life much more easier because you can create a single data model with all the data that you need and then use it across those templates.
Okay, brilliant. And now the third question, which I'll take now from the Leaptree side, is there a limit on the number of compensation plans, templates that can be built in Leaptree Incentivize, and I'm assuming, yeah, with DocuMotion? So we have no limits in place. So in terms of, we license our product by users, and then in terms of the amount of compensation plans that we were showing you today, we gave you 3 examples, different examples, but you could have 15, some of our customers could have 100 templates plus. So you have no issues there in terms of limitations. We don't design the product in that form or fashion. So I hope that's good news for you out there. So the fourth question, this is back to you, David. So are there any programming skills required to design a template?
Well, that's another good question, Neil. So no programming skills are required. It really is the aim of DocuMotion that it really makes it's a tool that makes your life easier, both from being able to generate documents in a simple way, but also being able to build the templates out themselves. And so no programming skills are required at all.
Okay, excellent. Excellent. So I think, yeah, in terms of time and etc., we might leave it there with the questions. Thanks for that, David. And what I'm going to do is hand back to Brendan.
That's fantastic, Neil and David. It's really great to see how powerful the advanced documentation is with Leap3 and DocuMotion. So just to recap again, of course, we are both 100% native Salesforce apps. And at this point, we will be sending on the information afterwards that you've seen here today. And we will be delighted if anybody wants to reach out to me. The details are there. Some of you may already know me as existing clients on either side. So yeah, absolutely very happy to set up a direct call with whoever wants to go into this in more detail relevant to their own needs. So again, thank you very much for attending today, and I hope that you found it useful, and I very much look forward to engaging with you further.